Hello, everybody who's just joining us. Can you please use the chat to say who you are, where you're coming from, to introduce each other? It would be absolutely fantastic if we did that. Thank you. Brilliant. So yes, use the chat, please, for everybody who's just joining. Can you please use the chat? Oh, lovely. Germany. Well, okay. Stockport. Hello, everybody from Holland, Midlands, Mexico. Lovely. Okay. Yes. Global. Italy, France. Amazing. This is really good. Oh, some people have been in my other webinar. Brilliant. Lovely to see you another time, twice. Argentina. Wow. I'm impressed, Argentina. Hey, hello, lovely, St. Albans. Okay, brilliant. Good, good, good. Okay, so the good thing is we don't need to go in so much of a as a hurry anymore, because apparently we are the only people, the last people in this room. So that's good, because my other webinar was a little bit like a marathon. So hopefully, yes, we'll be able to call a bit more of a pace. Please, while everybody come in, say who you are, or thank you for your comments. Say who you are, where you come from, and I always say to people, if you got other ideas on how to do things, thank you for the comments. Please, can you just post them into the chat if you really said, I do this differently, or I do this in a better way. Please tell us, okay? Because the idea is to learn from each other. I make a lot of mistakes. I'm not an IT expert at all, but it's lovely to get ideas from you. And then what I will do is that at the end I will share the link to my presentation, as I did before. I'm also on Twitter at Botones Salgado. You will see it at the beginning, so you'll be able. I will be shared there, and also in my personal, in my educational blog. Question. Yes, sorry. Yes, that is very fair comment. Please, can you make sure that you send comments to all panelists and attendees? Absolutely. I made a mistake before. It was very small and I didn't see it. So apologies. Okay. Yes. Absolutely. 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 Yes, brilliant. Okay, send. So that's brilliant. Right, so I think we're gonna still people coming. Okay, so we are waiting still with the people. As I said, newcomers, lovely to see you all. And can you please say who you are in the chat? I think you're doing it already. And please comment all the time if there's anything, any links, anything that you see there that you would prefer to do yourself or in a different way. Please let us know. Support each other, basically, because this is very funny. Everybody's muted. I cannot hear you. It seems a little bit weird. Sometimes you wonder, is anyone there? So it's very good to have the chat. And I cannot look at the chat while I'm presenting, unfortunately, but we'll look at it afterwards and definitely this evening. And so please use the chat for everybody to communicate and to support each other. Okay, you got very good ideas. Okay. As good, if not better than mine. So that would be lovely. So let's see. Right, I think we're going to start. I think that things now, numbers are now getting now quieter. There is another question and answer. So that one can copy. I can't copy. Someone is asking why not turn on copy chat options so those that want can copy the chat. Unfortunately, I can't do that. It's all done for me, and it's just a very, very little control I've got. Sorry. So sorry about that question there. Okay. So yes, you can of course use the question and answer, but through in the chat. And hopefully I'll be able to give you answers okay, at the end. And right, still some people coming. It's 3:05. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, how? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I think we're gonna start then. It does everybody. We go to 3:45. Let's start then. Hi, hello from London. Lovely to see you. So yes, please, last thing, talk to each other, chat, and I may ask you some questions just to make it more interactive, like, so you can raise your hand, some questions, just to make it a bit more interactive. I may do that. I didn't do it in the other presentation because we didn't have so much time, but we do have more time here. Okay, let's start then. If everybody's happy, everybody can hear me, I will start sharing my screen now. Okay, and let's go for it. Let's go. There we are. So we got the screen share functionality. There we are. So everybody should be looking at this presentation now. Actually, put it like full screen. Sometimes I prefer it not full screen, so I can see the other tabs. Anyway, thank you very much. My name is Esmeralda Salgado. I am a secondary school teacher, head of department in Cambridgeshire, and digital lead in my school as from this September. You want to interact with me at some point after this presentation, this is my Twitter account at Botones Salgado, and I also have a blog which I will share with you at the end of the presentation as well. Right, well, what we're going to talk now today is about stickability beyond the classroom and how we can, using IT tools, some really good IT tools, actually make sure that we contribute to make lessons memorable, basically to make sure that students remember what they learn in the lessons. And hopefully it's about 13 different apps or tools that I would like to show you. Okay, as I said, if you know the apps, that's brilliant. Tell us how you use them. You use them differently from me. That would be fantastic. So let's start then. So why all these? Well, basically, I think it's important. Normally, I always share this with my students because I don't think kids really are aware or how the memory works, and they get very frustrated. I mean, I just did a presentation on motivation. Some kids get very frustrated on how little progress they make. And the reason why is because their working memory is fine during the lesson, but then they tend to forget this stuff because it doesn't get embedded into the long-term memory. And it's very good to tell the students, well, actually, this is the 3 types of memory that we have. In lessons, we're using the working memory, but for you to remember this stuff and being able to do an exam and to be good, especially in MFL, you need to embed your knowledge into the long-term memory. And the way you do that is through practice and practice and practice, because we forget a lot. I mean, I'm sure you've seen this before, but after 20 minutes, how much you forget, and after 30, this is in the best case scenario, after 30 days, then 31 days, you just hardly remember anything. So this is after 100%, 20 minutes, you've forgotten nearly half of what you learned. So that's even during a lesson. So which is why I think making lessons memorable and contributing to this retrieval practice and overlearning is really important. And I think IT can be, and some of the IT tools can be fundamental, can be very good to actually to achieve that. So let's see, which are the tools? These are the tools I'm going to talk to you about today, and how I use them. Okay, because we're going to be more of time, I may have time just to show you a little bit how it works for some of them. In other words, I will have to show you basically how it works, the activity, but they are at the end, when you get this presentation, there will be direct links to everything here. So hopefully you will find that really useful, I hope. So let's start with the basics ones, very easy ones. Quizlet and Memrise. Quizlet and Memrise basically is to learn vocab, and it's like a little bit like flashcards kind of thing. Very easy to create. And why do I like them? They are very good for independent learning, very good for flipped learning, because what I do is that sometimes I tell the student, this is the vocab we're going to work on tomorrow or next week. Why don't you learn it beforehand? In Spanish, that works particularly well because it's a phonetic language. So I don't mind if the students see how words are written beforehand. So great for that. Great for retrieval practice. You can go back over and over again, and also very well to work through sentence builders. I've already talked before about how I use sentence builders, but this is how I tend to teach, to start with a topic, and definitely with key stage 3 and in case stage 4. And I just want to show you a little bit how I use Quizlet myself then. So what I do is I have for all the courses for GCSE, year 10 and year 11, I do have a folder. Okay, and I do have, because I do have bottom set in year 11 and top set in year 10. I only started doing this since last year, so it's something, you know, this is my second year doing this, so that's why I don't know all the topics out there. The idea is that I create my sentence builders, and then I put all my sentence builders into Quizlet courses, and so the kids basically can come here and they do have all the sentence, everything that goes with it. The way the Quizlet works, if anyone, I mean, I'm sure most of you, can you raise your hand if you use Quizlet before? You got the hand there, that would be lovely. Lovely, I can see loads of you. You know how it works then, but basically, brilliant, brilliant. That's fantastic. 40, that's very good. So basically, it's a little bit like flashcards. It tells you can spell, you can write. It helps you to learn the vocabulary, and it's actually very good for the students. I don't like using Quizlet with words only. I like using it with the sentence builder, so they put it into a little bit into context. Just the reason why is because some kids may be able to use the words, but they don't know how the word basically relates to the words that basically they come after or before. And I think that's very important. When you learn a language, you don't learn just words separately from each other. What you learn is how to link those words together to make a sentence. And I think that, especially for low ability kids, is good that they learn these things from there. Okay. The way I do it, I do Quizlet for Key Stage 4, and I do Memrise, which is very similar. I don't know if you can raise your hands if you use Memrise. Again, there I use Memrise Key Stage 3 purely because Memrise, you can see the points. It's a little bit more of an element of as a game. I also got people in my department in MFL in my school that actually work in and actually use Memrise for for GCSE and A level as well. This is basically how I do it. So at the moment we're doing tourism, and then what we do have is a topic divided in levels. So Memrise, it is the same as a Quizlet. You create your course, you go to courses, you dip, you need to subscribe, you create a course, and this is the beauty of it. Once you got your course, you get a particular URL, a link that you just can then share with the students. And I'm going to show you a little bit how that works. I mean, as I said, I create levels. So a student basically would come here and they have the vocabulary to start with, but then, as you can see, then they got the vocabulary in context, because I want them to see how you can use that vocabulary in a little sentence, okay, not just on their own. So for me, I think that's very important. That works, that has made my students become more successful in languages, not just learning words, but learning little sentences to start with, and then they can manipulate, and we do grammar, I promise you. No, I like it because it works brilliantly with sentence builders, and I want to show you a little bit in a blended classroom scenario how this works. I teach in a school where we teach, we use OneNote, as you can see. So basically, we do have a content library where I have, this is my GCSE class. We do have all the classes where I do all the lessons by week, so everything basically is like blended learning. And in here, what do I have is sentence builders. So what they do is, this is how I work. You got the sentence builder, say, for holidays. So this is one of the sentence builders. So I upload that for the kid, and straight away they get a Quizlet direct link there. So they come down, the students, this is a second sentence, because it's very similar, but instead of infinitives, this is with the I form, and they got a direct link with it. And for the topic of holidays and tourism, which is a big topic for GCSE, then they got the past tense and the direct link. I think you get the idea. And once we are at the moment, we are starting a school. So at the moment, there's going to be only one, because this is, we are starting this topic literally tomorrow. So I uploaded little by little. So the idea is that by the end of the GCSE, they will have, after 2 years of doing this, all the topics here with all the sentence builders, with all the Quizlet direct links. These links basically come from here. So for the actual course. Okay, so I think that's very useful for the students and also to make them a little bit independent. And I also all the time refer them to go to the sentence builder and into their OneNote and to their Quizlet. So that's basically 2 tools to help definitely for stickability and to make the lesson memorable, especially because you can have access to them anytime, not only during lessons. I play Quizlet Live sometimes, but for me, the important thing is not, I mean, yes, play is good to do it every so often, but it's about what the kids do with this outside the lesson and making them independent as much as possible and to train them to become independent. So that was my first one. The second one is Wheel of Names. I mentioned Wheel of Names. People have stopped using Wheel of Names because there are other better ones like Flippity. However, I think it's a fantastic, slick, very good, slick tool, and very good for practice sentences, translation, grammar, and at all levels. I do this all the way from Key Stage 3 to A level. So great for ritual practice. Again, you can raise your hand if you used Wheel of Names before, or you use it now, you know, Wheel of Names, that's fun. Okay, not so many people before, so I'm going to show you how it works then. Okay, Wheel of Names, you click on it, okay, this is what it looks like. So you get something like that, okay? So you say new, and this is how simple it is. The idea is to create names, and you can use that to ask a student's name, you know, or asking questions in the lesson. But what I do here is that I write sentences or vocab. As like I say, I don't like words on their own. So I may say, I tend to go on holidays. I used to go on holidays. I'm just giving you 2 examples. It's only 2, very simple. And then what you do is that you save it. So you come here and you save it, and you're going to call it test. Okay, or test 53, because I got few tests then, I think. I'm going to save it. And then straight away, once it's saved, you can customize it as well. So you can change the colors. I'm not going to go into that now. You can make it pretty, put a thing. You can put a picture in here. You can add images. Sometimes you can have images there, which is very good for the oral practice and the photo cards. And what you do then, this is what I love about it, is the shareable. And then you got you want to share with your colleagues. Okay, then you need to do this one. You should be able to spin the wheel and edit their own copy. If you just want to share with your students, otherwise they will mess up your copy, it's just that one. And then the only thing they get at that point is this. You copy the link, and what I do, I put the key link into OneNote. How do I use this in the classroom in a normal lesson? Well, I just wanted to show you. First, what to do is I would do this together as a whole class. And I go into the whole class, we play the game, we do it with whiteboards, we do it orderly, and it's like a fun element for everybody. We look at the common mistakes, etc. And after we do that for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, then we do this. I share the link I just showed you. I share it, yeah, here it is. So this is what I did the 12th of October. I share it here. So basically the link is there. So the students then can go to that area. This is now all the students working. I tell them to work in pairs. And in pairs, they will go to the link, which is the link on one of my activities. And then they play together orderly with each other, basically. And then what they do is that we've done as a whole class, now they do it in pairs. So very powerful. It's a lot of fun, and I think it's so much better if you ask them to translate this, or just give them the old-fashioned paper game. So that works particularly well. What I do as well sometimes is they need to do it for prep, so for homework. So what I've done, not in this particular example, is that they've done this, and there the prep, I will write here, prep, it is to go to the Wheel of Names, and go through the wheel, and then write down the questions in paper. And then basically I create a little box by the side. I know there are 15 sentences. They should be doing 15 sentences. The good thing is once they do the wheel, as you can see, you can remove the question that has already come. So I think that is very, very useful. So they don't end up always with the so remove, and then with that, then they know that something is going to come up. So great for writing, great for listening, and then it's memorable because you can access it anytime, all the time, not just in the lesson. So that's one of them. So that's basically Wheel of Names for you. Let's look at some more then. The other one is Flippity. Flippity is fantastic. I talked a little bit about Flippity, my other session. I really like Flippity. Again, raise your hands if you use Flippity. It would be fantastic to see. I think in the UK it's become a hit. Definitely in the MFL Twitterati community, and 35, but that's again everybody, that's fantastic. So this is what Flippity does, and remember you got the presentation with all the links. This is what Flippity looks like if you just click on it. You just come here and it creates this lovely website that creates all these activities for you. You can have flashcards, a little bit like Quizlet does. You can have a little bit of a quiz show, sorry. You got a randomizer, you got a name picker, you got a scavenger hunt, and basically you just need to play with it. And then the other things are not online, like you can create that, then you basically you create it and then you download it as a PDF. You can have a crossword, you can have a word search, you can have word cloud. So this is all the things it does, which is very good. Which is why some people show you, you got a little bit very similar to the Wheel of Names one here, the random name picker. So what I like about Flippity, I'm not going to show you how it works right now, but it's a little bit more, not complicated, but more steps than for example, Wheel of Names. But the good thing is that you get a demo here that you can see, and you get instructions exactly what you need to do. And the only requirement is that you need a Google account, because you will need to create a Google sheets, basically spreadsheets. Instead of the Microsoft one, you need Google Sheets. Okay, but you get a template. So you get a template, you save the template, you just follow the instructions on how to do it. Okay, in my blog, I do have a video on how to do this. Okay, but yes, it is, you follow the instructions, will be fine there. Now, how do I use this? Because you can see how many activities you have. So I'm going to show you some examples of my favorite ones. From all the activities, I mean, I shouldn't have closed them. Apologies. I'm going to show you. From all the activities you got one, my favorite one by a mile are the randomizer, the Flippity, the name picker, and the scavenger hunt. And I'm going to show you examples of those three and how I use them in the classroom. Flashcards is good, but because I use Quizlet, I tend not to use it. Okay, that's because I like to stick to one thing, basically. So these are basically the examples there. So how do I use the randomizer? This is my randomizer. I create, this is based on sentences, vocabulary. We've been practicing my sentence builder. And what we do is that you got the randomizer there. And then what the kids need to do is a sentence in Spanish, either in writing or speaking. And we do this as a whole class to start with. And normally I do it orally or with whiteboards. They show me their answer and then they go. They come and they tell me what the answer is in Spanish. You can see there's an infinitive because with this particular one, I wanted the kids to practice I like or structures are followed by infinitive. So they need to come with something here, okay, and then the infinitive. So I like, or I tend to, or something. I could have had another column for that, but I wanted them to think something on the spot. Once we do that, again, as you can see, your activity's got a lovely link. So then what I do, as I did before, I come to my OneNote in the blended learning scenario, which is how I'm teaching at the moment. This is my lesson from the 5th of October, just before the half term. And what they have, as you can see, is the randomizer here. So what they have to do there, as you can tell, there is click on the randomizer and translate the sentences into Spanish orally. And then they do this in pairs. And we've done it first and I demonstrate it all together. Then the kids come here to the OneNote page, they do it in pairs. If you don't have OneNote, you can use a Google Classroom or whatever, or even by email, whatever element or platform you use in your classroom to share information with your students or teams. So as an assignment, that's the link, and they follow basically the link. And so that is basically one example on that. Another thing that I use a lot is the random name picker. Looks really, as you can see, very funny because I don't use that one. As I said, as a wheel, I like wheel of names, but this is how I use it now. I come now here, and this is what I get. So this is great for retrieval practice. First, I can go through the vocab with the kids. Okay, go. What does it mean? What does it mean? Then I can go and tell them, give me a sentence with that. Everybody writes a sentence for me. Everybody speak. If I nominate, orderly. So I can do that. Then they can do it again. I check with the kids, and they do it in pairs. But this is the beauty of the randomizer here. Sorry, the name picker. Then you can create groups of two. So what is done now is I put all my vocabulary that I put in the spreadsheet in Google into 13 groups of pairs. So how do I use this? This is great to think on the spot. I come here and I tell the kids, can you tell me a sentence in Spanish on the topic that we're doing? And in your sentence, you need to include these two expressions. And then the same here, and then the same there. And now let's do 4, let's do 5. And then everybody can show me either using an interactive whiteboard response technique for them to use, something like Mentimeter, it could be, or just with a whiteboard, they just tell you what the answer is. Then what I do is I use the snipping tool, you know, the snipping tool that you got in your computer. And then what I do is that I select this and I copy the images, I cut it. I'm sure everybody know what the snipping tool is. I'm just going to show you very quickly. You do this, and then what I do is I say new, and I can put all this, and then it creates that as a photo, okay? And then I copy that into the OneNote, and then I can tell them for prep, write 3 sentences. Sometimes I put these different photos. I put the 12 blocks, write 12 sentences using the sentences in here. So what we practice in the lesson is reinforced for homework. All that through to basically 5 minutes that it took me to do the spreadsheet and create. No, I don't want to create the randomizer. Then you want to make it more challenging. Why don't you do groups of 3? Now your sentence needs to include 3 words, or groups of 4. And obviously you create words, or groups of 5. Or you're going to have now 2 teams. So you're really now really horrible, because they need to create a whole paragraphs, and they need to include all this in that paragraph. So for creativity, for writing, and it's all this seeing the same vocabulary that we've been seeing in lessons, and then you can put that as a writing activity. You just copy and paste that using a snipping tool. So I think it is actually very, very powerful. And my other favorite one is the Scavenger Hunt. It uses the same principle. Okay, through a spreadsheet, the tool will create this for you, which I think is amazing. And then you kids need just to translate that. If you go into the little bulb, it's because I give them a little bit of help. My help is always the initials. That tends to work quite well. So the kids need to write it, I wish, ojalá. They need to write the answer. And then, of course, if it's wrong, as you will tell that it's wrong. Yeah, it will become green, and then it will open the padlock if it's open. So the idea is that they open the 14 padlocks. The person who can open the 14 padlocks first will win. Again, I do is by linking, getting the link, sending to the kids, and I could have asked them to do this in a worksheet, but the fact that they're doing, especially low ability kids or more disaffected kids, they're doing in the online, and they're doing it in the laptop, suddenly increases their motivation. So that's actually quite good. So that's basically Flippity for you and how I use it. As I said, use the chat if you're using completely different ways. Then we go learning apps. Learning apps, again, can you raise your hand just to get an idea how many people you use learning apps? Because if you do use learning apps, most of you, I'm not going to the detail of it. Okay, so 40, 41, 43, quite a lot. Okay, that's it. It's increasing, fantastic. This is what learning apps. Keep going. If you use learning apps, that's brilliant. But for about 41 people, learning apps is a fantastic free app. I cannot believe it's free, the same as Flippity. All these are free, by the way. Okay, and so I'm just going to close this, not to get busy. This is what it looks like. You go into learning apps. You need to log in. So you create your login. At the moment, it recognizes it's me, and I'm already logged there. And then you press create app. Again, I do have a how-to video in my blog about how to create this. And it is all the activities you can create for you, which I think is amazing. My favorite ones are by far the free text input. I like the closed text. This is filling blanks, and then you go to crossword, and it's so easy to make. You just come here, come there. Then this is what I like about it. It gives you examples on how other people, you can see it's used throughout the world, how other people have done this. Okay. Another, so yeah, that's to give you a bit of inspiration. When you're happy, then you go to create new app, and then you give a title, and then what you do with the free test is basically, it could be translation, it could be text to speech, it could be a listening, and you got basically a question and an answer, a translation in Spanish to translate into English, in English into Spanish, and the kids basically, yes, with the vocabulary that we're doing all the time. So then you create another element and another element, and at the end you just save it. And once you save it, okay, it will allow you to share it. So just to show you one that I have done, once you create it, it will create it like that when you save it, and then it gives you this thing, the link, full screen link, or you can embed it as well, which is very good if later on you're using Genially, or you got your own blog or website. So the way it looks for it, learning apps, I'm going to give you examples on how I used it. So remember that everything I used has been the free text, pretty much. But I use it for translation. So what I do is my elements, I've written, when it says element, one element in English, and then I've written the Spanish. So the beauty of it is that it will automatically tell me if my answer is correct or is not incorrect. And you can also add, when you come here and you create your activity, it will add you, it was to create, then you can, I just want to show you if you never used it before, create new app. You are here, you can also get here the option of help. Okay, so that is basically, you got there, you got the solution, you add another element, and it was, I'm sure that I don't remember now what the help was basically, but it is basically, you can have the text and you have a video, so you write the content. Okay, oh yes, see, that's the help, the hint. So you write your content, I like, then your hint would be MG, and your correct answer would be me gusta. And by doing that, as many as you want, it creates this for you. Okay, so the hint becomes an I with the initials, and then they write this, and then if the kids go here, we'll tell them at the moment everything is wrong. Again, the kids don't need to log in. I don't want the kids to log in because they got so many things that they just forget. You just share this with the students in the same way as I used all the other ones. So tell me, okay, how do I know if the kids have done it or not? I just tell them to do a screenshot with everything is green, and it says, okay, well done, basically. So that's every proof I have, because I don't need to mark it because it marks itself. So it saves you time at the same time. This is the same one using free text, but now what I did is I used the audio to the text, audio to text. So, sorry, text to speech, I don't know what I'm saying.
Si tuviera la oportunidad, trabajaría de voluntario para ayudar a los demás.
So this is a dictation. So it is quite fast. So sometimes what we do is that with my year 11 who are important studies, that we do this in the lesson, and I want them to get used to how quick it is, how fast it is. And then the kids need to either translate it, so they just do a little bit of translation from audio, which I think is very powerful, or they can write as a dictation in Spanish what are they hearing, basically. And again, they just say if it's right or it's wrong. That's my favorite, one of my favorite ones. Categorizing verbs is good. That's another one of the ones that you have. And you got here, they need to categorize verbs in the present, in the present, in the imperfect, in the future. So future, it does one. And at the end, there is an image. What is what I mean? It's not an image, it's a video that they can watch. It's a song in Spanish. So present tense, so they can say voice present tense. Preteritus, I can see, free, etho, so you get the idea. Present tense, how good it is for recognition. Okay, so you are categorizing, but rather than 2, you can have here 5 or 6, and you can have smaller the puzzles become. So I think that's very cool. And I like the crosswords, and so crosswords is not good, but actually it is. I use it for conjugation. We too, cogimos. Okay, so that's it then. And if he's right, they get immediate feedback then. So I like that. And then what you can do is a matrix of activities. Once you create a lot of activities, what you can do is a sequence of activities that with something that makes sense to you and to your kids, especially to the crossword with the vocab, with the verbs, then match the images, okay, with actions, and then you can have a translation, then you have a dictation, and that's your whole thing of activities. To do that, again, you come here to the learning apps and you go backwards, okay, you say you want to leave the site. It is basically at the end the up matrix. But first you need to create all your ups individually, and then you add them to your up matrix, basically. So I think that is very powerful indeed. And in the same way, I would share this just to show you in the blended learning classroom. This is how it would work. This is actually during the lockdown. This was fantastic. This is a lesson from the 4th of May, and the kids had to do some dictation practice, and they had to do some translation practice, and that was part of the lesson. And then they did quizzes as well. So that was everything that they had to do during. I used that a lot during the lockdown, but I use it now as well as my learning, as my blended, as part of blended learning, and they work individually on the computers. Other ones, so Mentimeter and Book Club, and also yesterday from the lovely Laurel Causa, she showed us a spiral as well. I cannot tell you, I don't have examples, I just learned about this yesterday in the show and tell, but I had to add it because I thought it was so good. What these 3 apps do basically is allows you to get immediate feedback with your students. You ask them a question, everybody connects with you through a little PIN number with their phones or with their devices, and everybody's answers appear in the screen. Okay, so actually quite good. So again, can you raise your hand if you use any of these 3? You know, some people have fantastic 3 tools. At the moment, I like Mentimeter. Good, but at the moment I'm using, you can see how it looks like. This is what Mentimeter looks like. It's free. You also need to pay for the upgrade version, but the free one seems quite good. You just prepare some slides, basically. This is what WooClap looks like. At the moment, I'm using more WooClap just because you can enter with your Microsoft account, and because we are Microsoft school, it makes more sense to me. And also, you can do more things that you can do with Mentimeter. I'll show you in a minute. Or you can go, as I said, I've never used a spiral myself. I was playing about this yesterday night. It does the same principle. It's basically the same thing. You need to log in here, and it is got all the different, the quick fire basically allows you, this one allows you, all the students basically to log on and get everybody's answers. The reason why I got really excited yesterday with the spiral is because in here, when you get the answers, you got the children's names. While with the WooClap of Mentimeter, everybody answers, but you don't have the name of the person who sent you the answer. So if you don't trust, you may have the situation where someone is silly and may say something inappropriate. So there's an element there. While in here, you will know who said it, so they wouldn't dare to do it, or they will get into trouble. But just to give you an idea how that would work, okay? So I got an example with WooClap then. So I'm gonna go just to go quicker with the WooClap example. So this is what it is. You create what is called basically an activity, okay, or an event. Okay, I think they call it event. In your event, you can call it, got a name. This is transport with my year 9s. You can choose then different questions that will be added. This is going to be like a slide. So you can choose a multiple choice. This is why I love it. You can choose word cloud. You can choose find a number. You can sorting, matching. I think this is actually really cool. You can also choose, there is one as well for, you can have a video there, fill in the blanks. Brilliant. So I'll give you an example of how it works then. So if I press start, and everybody, just to give you an idea how it would work, everybody goes here to bookclub.com, and then you add my students, and this is the interactive whiteboard, and then you go GDHYPM. Okay, the idea is here is I want everybody to brainstorm vocabulary on the transport. So can you go there and just tell me, hopefully it will work. There will be any answers coming, I hope. If that's nobody's coming, I don't know if it's because it's not working. I used this last week with my students, it did work. So basically, if anyone comes here, oh, there you are. Well, some people keep coming. So we'll create a word cloud. So this is great for vocabulary. And then obviously in the case of my student, it will be, there you are. So I will ask them to create things from the sentence builder. Okay, so yeah, it could be like that. It could be I tend to, I take the train, I take all that. So we create, yeah, there you are, everything coming. And can you see that it's not, I don't know who sent this. Can you see the problem with this? While in Spiral, it will tell you who is sending all this. Okay, fantastic. So you can see straight away, you can have a really good conversation with the kids. You can talk about the different names, vocabulary, how it's working, etc. Then if I move, that's brilliant. Move on to the next question. Now the next question is the fill in the gap. So you already there, you should have the a veces, and at the moment you may think it's difficult, but remember this, because it could be different things. This is vocabulary from our sentence builder. So everybody would know that here should be suelo ir a pie, because I taught my year 9s to use suelo ir a pie for Spanish. Me ayuda a ser ecológico. So they basically get the answer. So you give me the answers there for those ones. It tells you which ones they are, and it will come here in a minute. So you got a whole class. You can actually see who got it right, what is wrong, why one of the answers are right. One of the answers I can see already. Someone is some of the answers are there. There you are. Got one person. So at the moment you got one me gusta. Yes, that's correct. Yes, that's correct. That's correct. That's correct. So you can actually say here why this is wrong. Why number 6, number 3, someone answered this. So can you see how powerful that would be to talk to everybody what things are right, what things are wrong, and you get immediate feedback from the students. Then I created another one with this, which now you need to match them. So what you have now, I want to see if my students could recognize the present and the past. So you got it there, and you can match them. And I will see, yeah, I got here now some of the kids there. Yeah, they can, that is very good. In the Spiral one, okay, I can wait, obviously, till all the answers are there. In the Spiral one, you can actually wait till everybody does it for you. Okay, so you can actually wait till you release the answer, and that you can say everybody got it right. That's good. Everybody's very good at Spanish. And then you got háblame. This is an open question example. Háblame de las vacaciones. So what I say to students before they do it orally, okay, if you had to talk about the holidays, what could you say? And then you can go and say, okay, fui a Grecia. That's a really good answer. You use the past tense. However, how could we make that answer even better? How can we extend that? How we can make that into a level 5, into a level 6 GCSE? Can we use the past tense? Can we give a reason? How can we use a high impact expression? Can you get the idea? And then everybody can see the answers. I wanted everybody to be in a grid, so it was clearer. Otherwise, it can be a little bit confusing. Everybody can see the answers. That's it. And I think that's very, very good. Spiral, that's exactly the same thing. Very similar. I don't think in Spiral can do the fill in the blacks, but the whiteboard definitely is there, but you can see the name of the kids, and I think that's fantastic. And this is a Microsoft one app. Therefore, you just need your Microsoft login details if you do have a Microsoft. So yes, I think everybody got the idea then. Right, so move on. If everybody's happy, let's move on. So that was the 3 things to get immediate feedback with the students. The other one I got is Padlet and Flipgrid. And I love Padlet. Padlet, I mean, I'm sure everybody, or a lot of people, well done, people already say who uses Padlet. Padlet is great. I just want to show you how I use it, okay? It's great for projects with international partners, great for sharing model answers. This is the case of Flipgrid. Great for revision schedules. I talked about this a little bit in my previous talk as well. I'm just going to show you for auto projects, and I'm going to show you something that I did. So this is my cooking project I did during lockdown with my year 9s while in June, as you can see. So what I did first was I recorded myself cooking palmeritas, and I embedded my video into the OneNote. Okay, that was the lesson. So they had to watch basically me making really easy recipe. And before that, we had been working with all these sentence builders basically, and they were familiar with this vocabulary. So this was the end, basically, the productive stage of teaching, of learning, basically. So we did that. And then what they need to do, they had to do also a memorized course with the vocabulary. And then what they had to do is basically to upload their own video, okay, and they had to basically cook, video themselves cooking my recipe and explaining, like I do, I speak very slowly, explaining what exactly they are doing. So basically they're imitating me. They're using it, and they're doing exactly the same recipe. And then they were winners for the person with the best videos and also with the best looking. Obviously, we couldn't taste the palmeritas because we were in our class. We were not in the lessons, but this is how it worked. And this is the final result. So what I have is that my kids, and I think I'm allowed to do this because there is not send names there. So the kids uploaded their video with the palmeritas, and they appear in there talking about the palmeritas, and then me and my lovely oral teacher in my school, basically we just gave them comments how good they were and all that. So I thought that was a very good nice way for projects, and everybody can see everybody's answers, so everybody gets a little bit inspiration from each other. So that is my cooking project, and this is the Padlet result. Other things that you can do with another one is Flipgrid. This is how I use Flipgrid. Again, it's for oral. If you use, okay, let me see first, if you have not used Flipgrid for the first time, this is what it would look like. It's another Microsoft app. So you just enter with Microsoft and basically you can raise your hand if you don't know Flipgrid, okay? Okay, some people you don't know. So basically what you do is that you and your students create videos. And you can give immediate feedback to the students, and the students as well can create their own videos and they can see each other videos and they can comment on them. So great for oral practice. So this is how I do it. Once you open Flipgrid, you can create what is called a group. The way I look at my groups, like I create a group for every year. Okay, I haven't, so this is for my year 10 and 11, the whole GCSE course, because the topics are the same. I put one for year 12. Okay, they're actually year 13 now, so they're basically one for key stage GCSE, one for 11, and then I got year 9. I don't teach year 7 and year 8 this year. And what I do is when you go to once you create the group, then you can create in your group, okay, you create threads or what is called discussions. And then you can see once you create the group, it says add a topic. A topic is a thread of discussion. So what I've done is already created, okay, some topics I know we've done or we are going to do. So you create that, you don't need, you can put a picture in there, so it looks, yeah, it tells you here, basically you can give here an explanation on why this is going to be, you know, for the kids, if you want to. Then you share with your student, you can share the whole group, but what I do is I just share whatever topic we need to work on. So there you go to share, and as we did before, you can share it, you can embed it, you can share it through Teams, to Google Classroom, so this is really, really good, or you can share the QR code, or what I do, I put it in OneNote. So I copy, paste it, and put it in OneNote as I showed you all the other activities. Then what happens, I'm gonna copy, this is what happens now. A student will get a copy, and this is the point of view of the student. Student will come, will follow the click, and they will direct them directly to the correct topic thing. And then they need to record. And here they have the instructions. So record your presentation on free time. So you could be here, whatever. It could be a project. Talk about whatever. When you're doing this, you can also set up in your thread, in your conversation, how long you want the students to talk to maximum. So what you do is you cut here, record a response, and this is quite good. At the moment, it's not going to work because obviously I'm using their camera. But what happens here will either they record themselves with their faces, they can show to have a Bitmoji in front of their face because they're shy, or, which I think is very cool, they can also record their screen. So if you have something open like Flipgrid, okay, like the randomizer, they could record the screen with them alone, playing the randomizer and recording themselves, translating the words that come in the randomizer that we saw in Flipgrid, in Flippity. I don't know if that makes sense. And to make, and I know it's a lot to take in, we've got, I'm sure is here, sorry, it's not that one. I'm sure I put it in there. There you are. I got a lovely video, which I didn't create, is the lovely Mike Elliott, who actually teaches you how to do that and integrated Flipgrid and Flippity together. And if you click in here, it's a 4-minute video. He tells you how to do it from a teacher point of view and from a student point of view. So I think that's very powerful. So the idea there. What do I like Flipgrid? Because then everybody, once they record themselves, you can, like, for example, if I come here, I can see all my students' answers. Okay, I can give feedback straight away. I can share it. The kids can also see each other's one. You can, if you don't want it, you can actually can say, I don't want people to see each other's videos. They can actually answer to the question, have actually a reaction to their video. And I think that's very powerful with A-level students or higher students in the basically older, because you can have a discussion and then the kids with the videos talk about their discussions basically, and they create a conversation online using video, which I think is very powerful. And I love the fact they can record their screen, okay, because then they can, even in the screen, they can have a photo card and they can record themselves with a photo card in front of them talking about it. So you can see the whole how much scope it is with it. And it's really simple. As I said, the first thing you need to do is to create your own group. So at the moment I'm in there. So you come here, okay, you are there, and you create your group in the discussion groups. Then create group here, which is your class. Within your group, then you create whatever topics you want. So you can have a lot of different. This is how topics within the same group. This is how I've used it before, really nicely. And again, you can share it through, well, you saw it, there's a lot of places to share it with. So that is there. Let me see, we're getting running a bit late. Then we got short YouTube videos. This is actually quite good. With this, I mean, this is very simple. It's not about creating your video. This is the next one. It's actually about how you can use videos on YouTube to motivate the kids again in when the kids are really confident enough to be able to listen to them. So what we do here, for example, you've got and you will have access to this, we created this with some short forms in Spanish. So we got some short forms that you can find on YouTube, and then it's the project was that they watched the thing, the little film. There was vocabulary, there were questions, what type they click. This is an interactive, so the kids straight away, once you download it, can enter the answer straight away in there. Click and tap here to enter. Busca, what does it mean? Tells the story. So basically a lot of different things based on 4, 5, you got it in the top, based on some little short cuerdas, la leyenda disparando pájaros, but you can find the same thing in whatever language you're doing. I found that extremely motivating as well. It really helps, and it helps you with the culture and to put language into context rather than a little bit away from sentence builders and the vocabulary that you do all the time. I suggest also to do the extra, this is wrong here. Then you can have the extra things as well on Netflix, or this is like an example of where that's one of the things that you can actually watch. It's only 4 or 5 minutes. In my blog, you have all the links for extra soap in Spanish with worksheets already. So just a little bit, it's nothing for you to create. It's actually to do a little bit of search in YouTube on how you can use that. And then we go to quizzes, forms, and carousels. This is for retrieval practice. I've already showed before how to do a little bit of quizzes. So basically translation practice, oral practice. I love quizzes. You can raise your hand if you know about quizzes. Quizzes is great. I think it's better than Kahoot, for example. It's a different level from Quizlet, because it allows you open questions. It allows you to have a audio input. So very, very powerful. And I just want to show you as an oral how I use it. So I would go reattempt, because I used it before. And this is what I would like from the students' point of view. Okay.
¿Qué peligros y ventajas tienen las redes sociales?
So this is the vocabulary, and then, oh, sorry, I closed it then. I just wanted that. And then basically they got, I think I gave them 1 minute for them to write the answer. This is an open question, so whatever they write is fine. It will mark it for you. I think it's very, very good for the kids to do practice. And all that, instead of a question, could be the listening, a little bit like with learning apps, where you say something, a sentence, and the kids write down what it means. So I think that's very good. Quizzes, if you go into it, really easy to do. You need to do a login thing, but again, you don't need to create, the kids don't need to log in into anything. So once you're done and you create your quiz, you just share it with the kids, as I've done there, and the kids, and you can make it live for 3 months, for a week. You can do it live in lessons, like you would do it with Kahoot, but everybody does independently, or as I do it, is you do it as homework. Basically, when you can do it in your own time, no live down there. And so I think that's really sorry, that was in there. And I also want to show you a little bit forms. Forms is really good. I use forms with listening and Bitmojis. So if everybody went to the workshop from Joe Dale yesterday, he was talking about Bitmojis. This is what I do. So this is a listening. You don't need the forms actually. Once you create your Bitmoji as a little YouTube talking character, you can then share this, which is actually was the prep of my year 9s for next week in OneNote. You don't need to have it in, I mean, this one, it was a forms based on YouTube, but this you can actually share your YouTube video and the kids need to answer the questions. So this is what it looks like. Okay.
Normalmente, para ir al colegio, uso el coche, porque vivo lejos.
Okay, so basically what I've done is my Bitmoji talk. How do you do that? Using a PhotoSpeak. So I did that with my iPhone. PhotoSpeak, I created my Bitmoji first with my Bitmoji, which I got it as well as an extension here. Then my Bitmoji, it was already in my application here. Then I used PhotoSpeak. It took me 30 seconds, basically record my voice, and literally what PhotoSpeak does, it creates the movement motion in the mouth. And then you share it, basically. That's it. Basically, you can download it. So what I did is I downloaded, you share it as well through email, or you share it whatever application through your phone, then you access it, and then what I did is I uploaded it into YouTube. Okay, I do have my own YouTube account, and then upload it because otherwise it can be quite big. And then once it's uploaded, I can share this with the students. So PhotoSpeak, to start with, you with your Bitmoji, first Bitmoji, you create your Bitmoji, then it's PhotoSpeak, and then within PhotoSpeak, you create a video, you share it, and then you put it in a forms, but also you can put it, just share it with the kids and say, what did you understand, and asking them questions. This is like really motivating for the kids. It's not the old-fashioned listening that you listen, that the kids have in the textbook. So much more engaging. The kids absolutely love it. And normally what I tell them, can you see, it's only 35 seconds, 30 seconds, 20 seconds clips. And this is what I did last year with as a revision with all the topics from year 9. And actually you can go very slowly or you can go very fast depending on your group. You can use more vocabularies. I think is very, very powerful. As I said, you can share that into your website, which I think this is what I want to show you. I want to show you as well how all this can be great for blending practice. So basically here you have the quizzes. So basically where they had to listen to it, and then once they did the quizzes and they did it in writing, they had to record themselves in OneNote, okay, by inserting audio. And that was the same questions as they heard in the quizzes, but not in here. And I don't, that's it then. So that's basically, that's one of the things then. As I said, my homework last week was actually to listen to one of these YouTube in OneNote and just say, the question was, what did you understand from the Bitmoji talking about transport? And they just have to write it down. So that's it. So hopefully that will be the end. I'm just going to talk a bit about screencasting. Screencasting is great. You can use Loom. Loom is great for screencasting. I find it really useful. Once you can learn that you just can share the link. Basically what Loom does and what screencasting is, for anyone who doesn't know, allows you to record your screen. So I think that's very powerful because I can show a little on my whiteboard, I can show things moving, I can show a PowerPoint, I'm talking over them, and the kids need to do something towards it. And then what I do is I upload into my YouTube channel, and this is one of the things how I did my teaching during the lockdown. However, one of the things I would say, this is how it looks like. So once I created my, so that was my screencasting, where I opened TaskMagic and I went through the PowerPoint and did all that. And then what the kids had to do, they had here a little bit of the frame for them to write the question. So when I was doing the video, I was telling the students, okay, some pause, go now and write the answers in your in the boxes below. So that's it. So what sentence I'm doing? So you can do listening, you can do dictation, you can do questions and answers, whatever you want. So basically here, translate the sentences in Spanish in the video, exercise one. At the beginning, there was a grammar explanation. Write your notes. What do you understand about the grammar explanation? So all this is an interactive video. At the moment, this was great for one lockdown, but I loved it so much and it was so effective and the kids responded so well that now we're using them as prep, as homework. So now what we're doing is that to reinforce the meaning, what we're doing, reinforce the language, we're doing this so the kids do these videos for homework, basically. And they need to do, so basically they can do listening, they can do oral, they can revise this, and it's like having us outside the classroom, if that makes sense. I go through the present tense with them and everything is in my YouTube channel. So I do have a YouTube channel and all my videos are there basically, and the kids can subscribe and say they don't need to subscribe because everything there, I just share it with them in their OneNote. That's fine. There's Screencasting. That's the last one. Generally, it's absolutely fantastic. Generally is what I'm using at the moment to talk to you. Allows you to create a lot of presentations. When you go into Generally, it goes there. You just need to log on. It's free. It's also an upgrade, but there are a lot of things you can do for free. And it allows you. It creates basically interactive presentations for you. So when you go create, it knows that I am Spanish. So basically, it's just does it in Spanish. Yeah, so it's in Spanish there, but let's do it in English. Okay, so now it is. So the ones I really like, there's a lot of presentations already for you ready. The ones that are really, really, really good are the gamification ones. I think these are brilliant because you got here lots of, and I'll show you some of my favorite ones. The ones that got a little star, it means you need to pay for. So it means you cannot use. So, for example, this is free, Jumanji. Another one that you can use. So, for example, there is another one, the Snakes and Ladders is also free. Yes, there it is, new. So look at that. Just imagine that you like this. You like that one, it looked good to you. This is to show you how easy it is. You come here, it's all done for you. And the only thing you need to do is use this template. So when you use this template, you become into it and then you manipulate it. And basically at the moment, you look at that, obviously it's in Latin because there's nothing, the only thing you need to do is to change that to whatever you want to. Okay, so I just want to show you, it's also great for escape rooms. And so I'm going to show you basically a lot of examples here. I don't know, go through all of them. The one is Snakes and Ladders is here. I showed in my other presentation. Then you see that the only thing I had to do is to change the bits and then I copy and paste it because then there were not enough questions. I wanted more questions. So that's what I did. I went there and I put translations, but also allows you to do look at learning escapes, and also you can embed other apps like learning apps into it, and I'll show you how cool that is. What you do, this is my escape room based on Finale, and lesson one. Well, lesson one is my YouTube video, the same as before, and the kids now can write on it. Okay, basically in here. So this is activity one, and then at the end, when they finish, they get a code, and at the end there will be a code basically for them to open to see that if they want. When you say, that's what it does. Can you see? What allows me to do is to embed anything from learning apps, okay, into here. So instead of saying like in the Snakes and Ladders, instead of having questions there, what you could have is actually an activity on learning apps. And the way you do that is when you go learning apps. Okay, when you go there and you go to create your learning app, it allows you at the end. So in here, when you do, okay, sorry, I just want to show you because it could be confusing otherwise. I just want to see one of mine. Once you create your learning apps thing, can you see that you got your embed here? You copy that and you embed it into basically in here, use this template. So imagine where you're going to use the template. Okay, so I'm going to do it like a little bit of here. So this is now I'm using it. And now I come here and then it tells you this. Can you see here? You can. So instead of that, I'm going to get rid of this and I'm going to have a embed, which is, okay, it's not, oh yes, here, sorry, I'm silly. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to embed that quote. And hopefully now, if I go to preview, test, say, okay, now hopefully it will work. And now if I need to remember where I was actually, oh my God, I'm not going to remember where it was. Yes, can you see? You got your thing there embedded. Obviously, that seems a little bit silly because it's very small. But what I've done here with this recent one is just to put it in the whole slide. So I just go to embed. Whatever you do in Genially allows you to embed. And I'm not an expert in Genially, but there are two lovely people in the MFL Twitter writing, the MFL, who are Maria Alirod and Julia Morris, who have created, and I'll show you in a minute, have created tutorials on how to do that. So these two lovely people have created all tutorials to get you through Genially and how to use it. You can use it in a very simple way, as I showed you, but if you really want to get like embedding apps and doing things into it and all that, you click on that. And then you got a whole presentation from them on how to use the Genially apps. You just need to say to reuse it, put it into your own area. You need to open, basically to see, you need to open have a Genially account. And I think that's it. Things, other ideas. I think I've gone through a lot. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. Jodel is fantastic. You got a link here to his YouTube. Keep sharing. We do have in the UK this something I set up during the lockdown, which is MFL Twitterati sharing good practice. Please keep sharing here. When you go here, for example, there's a lot of examples of escape rooms, most of them with Genially. Bitmoji resources, IT, sentence builders, knowledge organizers, blogs and YouTube channels. And there are loads. It's about more than, look, you can there, everybody contributes. So the only thing you need to do is to contribute with your activity. So you got something that is really good. You just come here, you can put the link and everybody can access it. So there are a lot of things to do with IT, but it doesn't have to be IT really. Also, you come here as well. You got some here from my blog post about how to use Bitmojis, retrieval practice with IT, how to videos, and how IT tools can support sentence builders. So there are whole posts on that. And then remember, and that's another idea, that everything can be turned into a QR code. So you can actually have anything that you have, okay, like a sentence, you can have an image, you turn it into a QR code, and suddenly you got a treasure hunt with QR code around the classroom or around the school. Anything can be, any Word document, anything can be taken into a QR code as long as you got an URL. Okay, and you put it basically in OneDrive, in Google Drive, in wherever. So this is another how you can do a lot of treasure hunts with QR codes. I'm going to stop sharing now. I know it's late. I'm going to take some questions. I'm going to as well, I will need to, I'm going to share that with you as well. This is basically the presentation, the link to this presentation, and this is my blog. And yeah, I talk a lot about IT and how to have different IT things in there. So before that, you expect with me, I'm gonna go to I'm gonna go into Genially because I would like to share the presentation with you. Genially, and I should have done it at the beginning, but I didn't have time. So I'm gonna go here. And this is my Genially. Sorry. Come on. This is training, and then I'm gonna do it. That's the one. So I'm gonna share, gonna copy that, and now I'm gonna stop sharing. Lovely. I can see a lot of people still there, which is amazing. Classroom or even Farfly, you can use exactly the same. So I think that's it then. Fantastic. Link to link to the Padlet is the MFL Padlet. Oh my God, there's so many links. People asking for links everywhere there. Okay, the Padlet, I've got it here. Oh no, that's the other one. Oh no, I don't have it. Ah, this is really, okay, yes, I do. The link to the MFL Padlet for everybody to contribute. As I said, this is something we just started it. Oh, okay, over the lockdown, and I think it was a suggestion from Jodel as well. And he's like, oh, okay, we do this? Oh, yes. And I'll say, I'll take a little bit of initiative and let's try and do it. Okay. So that is, that's the Padlet. There is also, and as I said, in my presentation, there are specific links to specific posts in my blog that could be useful to you, of use to you. Okay. Thank you very much. You can contact me through Twitter. You follow me, and yes, that is absolutely fantastic to have you. And thank you, Joe, for being there. You're still there. Okay. Yes, we are very lucky. Joe Dell is fantastic. Really, really, really good. He's absolutely amazing. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Bye-bye, everybody. I'm gonna go now. I need a glass of wine. I don't know if it's correct to say that. Oh, this is being recorded. Never mind. Bye. Adios.